My name is Sarah Strasbaugh, and I'm the Associate Director of Community Programs for Seattle Theater Group. I grew up primarily my early years in Salt Lake City, and then in high school, we moved to Nashville, Tennessee, which was a huge change, and it was wonderful to get just a completely different side of culture in the US. And then in college, I went back to Southern Utah near Las Vegas. So I've kind of grown up in a bunch of different little places, all very different. So I was really shy as a kid. I was painfully shy. And so my mom put me into kid theater classes, which were a lot of imagination games. And that really just sparked my love for theater and the arts. My mom was a sound engineer when I was really young. She was one of the first female sound engineers. So music was always around. I remember growing up being a baby and crawling on the studio room floor and the smell of the tape that they used to use. And then once I got involved in theater, I just sort of stuck with theater for a long time. And I always loved to play the most dramatic roles. I was much more into Shakespeare and into the Greek plays, Greek tragedies. I moved to Seattle after college and got a chance to work for some smaller theater companies here in the area, some of which are not around anymore, unfortunately. And then was fortunate enough to get a job with Teatro Zanzani and with One Reel as a whole. I then went over to SIFF and Seattle International Film Festival, which is where I've always had a love of film. And so it was exciting to be a part of the film festival world. Then after SIFF, I found this job at Seattle Theater Group had opened up, and I'd always loved STG. It was a natural jump for me to come over, and I've just enjoyed being here ever since. I love that I get to do a little bit of everything. So I get to work on Silent Movie Mondays, which adds to my love of film. I love working on all of the different performing arts season shows that we have. That's one of my big roles, that I get to connect the community with some of the touring artists that are coming through. I love working, of course, on More Music at the More. That's like my baby project, I feel. I put a lot of my heart and soul into that project. And I just love working with the amazing team at STG. There's so many different people with different perspectives, different backgrounds, drawn to STG because of all of the different arts. And so I just get to learn from my colleagues all the time, and I really enjoy that. At STG's annual fundraiser Doors, there was a year where we had more music artists performing with Sheila E., Mike McCready, and The Roots. And to see the more music artists mixed in among it was incredible. And I remember being off in the wings, and I came around one of the legs, and Questlove had cornered one of the drummers, Juan Blanchie actually, and he was giving him all of the advice of everything about how to be a professional musician. And I just remember him saying, "You got to miss Christmas, you got to miss birthdays, you've got to be committed." When I'm not working, I love to hike. I love to get outdoors. There's so many beautiful places around Seattle. I love to do day trips or weekend trips. I also have a 1 year old, so she's keeping me busy. So I'm doing a lot of baby things right now. I look forward to going back out into concerts because I used to go to a lot of concerts and see a lot of live music and arts. This is the hardest one. There's so many, but off the top of my head, Julie Taymor is a fantastic film director. In terms of dance, I love Michelle Dorrance is one of my favorites. Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, Camille A. Brown, Kid Pivot for their theatricality. I love reading. Glennon Doyle's a new favorite of mine. Music is the big one. There's a long list, but I love, okay, rock, Queens of the Stone Age. I love Led Zeppelin. I love old country like Hank Williams, but I also love new country like Chris Stapleton or Casey Musgraves. I love blues, old blues like Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters. Oh, I love the Rolling Stones. That's more rock. I'm a girl of the 90s, so I love Tori Amos and I love Black Crowes. I love Janelle Monáe and Robert Glasper. Leon Bridges is phenomenal, so soulful. Erica Badu, a new favorite is Khruangbin. I could go on and on and on. There's so much good music. One thing that I did early on in my career, I started taking people to coffee. I just started asking those who I really admired in different positions. They could be board members, they could be people who I worked with, people who I just really admired in the community and was interested in the work that they did. And I just said, "Hey, can I take you to coffee?" And it was amazing. I learned so much about how people come from all different paths and just the things that worked for them. But most importantly, the thing that I think I found is that they all just followed their passion and they had drive and they had commitment. So I think having your community and really figuring out a way to work with your community in a reciprocal way, in a way that you're working with them and they're working with you as much in on an equal basis as you can. I think that's really important to just have that equal partnership with anyone that you're working with.